Broadcasting to the world from South Jersey, this is Anything Goes with Phil Rossi and JJ Golick. A weekly podcast with different topics every week. The views and opinions on this show are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any businesses or organizations mentioned during the show. And now, it's Anything Goes with Phil Rossi and JJ Golick.
Yo, what is going on? It is Anything Goes. Phil Rossi alongside my man, my compadre. That is JJ Golick. JJ, what's up?
Phil, is that you?
That is me.
We're in the same room.
In the same room, live.
From Robert's Bar and Grill at
Yes.
Paris Caterers.
Live from Robert's Bar and Grill. This episode is sponsored by Dr. Pop.
Dr. Pop. Actually, it's Cherry Coke, but that's all right. It's all right.
Is it Dr. Pop Cherry Coke?
No, it's just Cherry Coke. We went with the regular brand this time, you know?
Okay, so it is...
It's Cherry Coke.
Okay, that's
Cherry Coke.
that's what it's called.
Cheers. Welcome back.
Welcome.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Can you hear that? Do you hear the glass?
If you didn't hear it,
There you go.
you hear it again. No alcohol is in these glasses. It's just Cherry Coke.
That's a little bit different for you because usually you're...
Oh, yeah. Well,
Now, here's the thing. Now, if you don't know, because I always hate like the inside jokes that the poor audience doesn't know. So let me just go over this real quick. If you don't know, JJ is becoming infamous for sending me snaps either plastered or very high in the sky. Now, it's funny because when you do, you look crazy as hell, if I'm being honest. I'm
yeah.
like, man, your eyes are like you got Diablo inside you.
It's a whole different breed, dude. You have no idea what's going on in there.
Now, let me ask you this. How long does it take for you to come down from that? Like, so you'll send me a snap, it'd be like 11 o'clock at night. I'll be like, man,
Right.
this dude is baked.
Well, it depends. Am I continuing after, or are we done? It's good, isn't it?
Sorry, I was just taking a swig of the Cherry Coke. But that's what I mean. So if you send me a snap at 11, what you're saying is you could go till like 2.
Oh, if I continue, if I'm hitting the bowl, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
See, here's the thing. Now you're throwing in this weed jargon I'm not really too familiar with. Because now on my end, I've never.
Oh yes, Mr. Clean Boy over here.
No.
Call him Mr. Clean, Mr. Fancy, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
I've never even taken a puff of the devil's juice.
It's the devil's lettuce, not juice. Juice it would be. Oh my lord.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's because I'm pure. I'm pure of heart.
Pure, all right.
So that's why I'm not really sure about the, the devil's lettuce.
Listen,
Taking a little puff pass, hitting the bowl. Like, you got all kind of different jargon I'm not really familiar with. Hold on, let me take another swig of the cherry.
Oh, yeah. What was this break was brought to you by?
Yeah, we didn't even go to break. It's already been brought to you by Cherry Coke. We better be getting paid for this damn thing, too.
Damn right. Just a lifetime supply would be good for me.
So, we've been gone it's been a while, right?
I mean, I don't know where my phone is. I lost that, but...
We don't have to worry about it. It's just been a while.
It's been at least 3 months. At least 3 months.
So here's the thing. So, what we want to talk about today is a couple weeks ago, we did a wedding.
Oh, yes, we did.
We're not going to mention the actual venue because that's not professional.
Who said we're professional?
Well, me. We have to be legit. We got to be professional.
Listen, if you're in the South Jersey area,
This guy.
you will know exactly what venue we're talking about.
So we have a wedding. We go in.
No, you go in. I'm still working another gig.
Right. I'm in there by myself. Of course, it's raining. I feel like every gig I do, when I have to load in, it's raining or it's hailing or it's
some sort of shit storm out there.
It's Superstorm Sandy, whatever. Like whenever
Right.
I have a gig, that's what it feels like.
So you're loading in.
Correct. Loading in. And, listen, most places you've been there before or you know the layout. At this place.
Well, they actually just changed the layout too.
Okay. At this place.
I had been there probably 4 or 5 months prior doing another gig.
Okay.
So all that outside, you used to be able to pull your car back to where to load in.
Yes, that's another thing.
So you would just go up the stairs.
So if you don't know the place, it's kind of like in a tent, but it's like a permanent sort of tent. So it's not a bad inside, but where you have to load in, there's a fence blocking off right to the entrance. So you got to park a good, I would say. I mean, how far is it away? It's at least about 10 car lengths away from the front of where you have to load in. So, and they don't let you pull up to the door. So now you're lugging all the equipment in. The other thing they don't tell you is once you go inside and you meet the person who's running the event.
You already have the gear inside.
Right, you already have the gear inside, and they tell you, oh, you don't even need speakers because you can just plug right into the house system.
Wait, it's not that you can plug into the house system. You're not allowed to use your own sound system.
Right, so you have to plug directly into the sound system. Now, again, usually for mobile DJs, that's not really ideal because they usually don't have a bass there. We don't know... We can't control the sound.
If it's not a club or somewhere that is used to having DJs or a sound system that's equivalent to what you're going to be putting out, you don't want to plug into it. And most DJs, like Phil's saying, you want to use your own gear. You want to be comfortable.
You know it works. Like I said, you're comfortable with it. You can control the levels. You know how it works. It's hard to explain this to venues and people that don't do it. They just think you're being difficult and you don't want to use their system. It's not that. It's just we know that it's going to be more difficult. So,
also on a side note, because some may not know, I have been doing audio engineering since I was 12 years old, and I'll be 23. What is it? Monday.
Only 23?
No.
You're
Thursday.
You're a young chickadee.
Sorry. Next Thursday, I will be 23. And so I've been doing a lot of audio. And so Phil calls me. He calls me and he goes,
I'm like, listen, JJ, I need an XLR because I don't have that for my system. You know, JJ's got like a million wires. So
yeah, I mean, I have
pulling stuff out his ass.
Yeah, I got a bunch of shit always laying around because you never know when you're going to go to a gig. A wire's going to go down. I'm always over prepared. So he calls me. I'm wrapping up another job, and he goes, "Listen, we're not going to need a sound system. You don't need to bring your gear." And they just told me to put mine in the car. And I'm like, whoa. What? What do you mean? So he tells me, yeah, they're making us plug into their sound system. So, of course, me already, being an audio guy, I'm like, send me a picture of the system. I need to look at this. Mm-hmm. And he sends me a picture, and I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Now, here's another thing. Here's another side note, is that you are, I think, just naturally negative person. Because everything with you is like, you want it right. I get it. But JJ's like, woo, there's no way this is going to work. I can't do it.
Was I right or was I right?
No, you were right about that.
I was absolutely right the whole time.
But here's the thing. I'm always like, JJ, we just got to make it work. Let's do it. He's like, oh, I don't know. Because we already got this going on over here. If I do, this is tough. And I'm like,
so wait.
Just fucking plug the shit in and let's make it work.
I guess so we should go back to originally, I got brought on to this gig with you because the ceremony was supposed to be in one place, the cocktail was supposed to be in another place,
right,
and the reception in another place. May I just inform them that it rained, obviously, as we already said, and everything got moved into the same room. Now, the staff at this facility had no idea what to do. They're standing around staring at each other. There's two wedding planners and a bitch of a banquet manager, if that's what you want to call her.
Well, I guess so, because you just did.
Listen, and you'll find out why she's a bitch in just a little bit. So we plug into the system. We get everything, whatever situated. And I already knew by looking at the system that it wasn't going to be okay.
Well, I think the hardest thing is, too, and I've said this before, anytime you're having like an outside ceremony or outside event, to me, just in general, it's just not a good idea because even if it's nice out, everything might work and be okay, but you always run the risk, especially you're booking stuff out 6 months, a year, 2 years out in advance. The weather, the rain, the cold, even if it pours the night before, now everything's muddy and it's a mess. It's just hard. I mean, if you could, and if you have the money or the means, you should be having weddings inside. I don't know if this is something new. I understand because of the COVID, we had a lot of stuff outside recently. But, think about the vendors, whether it's the entertainment, whether it's the poor caterers that have to cater all the food, whether it's the flower people, the photographers. There's a lot of people. And then also think about your guests that you're asking to get dressed in tuxedos and suits and everything else. Weddings are not meant to be outside. And if they are, and if it's on the beach, you're going to have to dress accordingly. You shouldn't have to make, vendors and all these people fit into something that's not supposed to be, whether you're lugging equipment across parking lots. It's just, it makes it so much more difficult. And again, that's if everything works out fine. Then you add bad weather into that. It's an absolute disaster.
Well, I'm also going to, I'm going to agree and disagree with you on certain thing. So, at some facilities, much like the one we are standing in right now, And I'm going to praise Paris Caterers because
He's biased. He's really biased.
No, I'm just saying because I've seen where we have to make the call. We are prepared, especially with every wedding ceremony. Most brides love our outside grounds. They want to have it outside. Now, for those of you who've never been there, it is beautiful out there. They have, the nice walkways and everything, but you have to be prepared.
Well, here's the other thing I'll say real quick about Paris, though. The thing that's different about here, that this is a venue made for weddings and wedding receptions. So if that's the case, then like you're saying, it's meant to be outside. If something goes wrong, you have a backup plan. But this whole facility and venue is made for weddings. The issue we always run into is they try to turn old houses or historic buildings or just random areas,
a barn,
just into wedding venues, and it's not conducive to the vendors and the people working there. So like in this I would feel like Paris is a unique example, but I feel like most places we work at, it's not like that. You don't have walkways, they don't have a backup plan. If something goes wrong, it falls on the vendors to just adjust in the middle of the event, and I don't think you should have to do that.
It becomes our problem. So
right.
I will say that, again, we were already talking, I hinted toward that the banquet facility didn't know what to do. That was very apparent.
Right.
They had no idea between the two wedding coordinators and the banquet staff. Somehow things were just falling off the rails. So we test the system. I already look at Phil and I say, dude, I don't like it. I said, it's not going to be good. I said, the position of the speakers, the whole 9 yards, it's just not good. There's no bass. When we get them up and dancing, I said, mark my words, we're going to blow these speakers tonight. Well, we get through the ceremony, microphone's cutting out. And it's not us.
And for the microphone, we had just used a Shure SM58 wired microphone. So
it was direct into the board. The problem was, and I'll give a little audio lesson here.
Listen up, people.
When you have a sound system and it's set at a certain level, it's expecting a certain input level to go in. Now, if you're not a DJ or an MC, radio personality that knows how to use a microphone, you're going to sound like this because you're going to step 55 feet away from it. And the microphone is meant to speak into. So people don't do that. And what happens is the sound system's going, I'm not getting a signal. But then it gets, maybe you'll say something louder and it'll get a little bit of that signal. The sound system only puts what it picked up in. So it sounds like it's cutting out. It may not really be cutting out. It may just be the asshole behind the microphone. But that kept happening, and everybody looks at the DJ. Everybody looks at us and goes, what the hell? Every time.
I mean, I've seen it happen, whether it was our situation using a wired mic. I know I've done events even recently where we had the lapel microphones, and it was the same deal where, we had strapped the lapel to the officiant, and the power pack actually kept moving down her back, and that was causing, it sounded like it was cutting out too. And literally the power pack of the lapel kept falling off. And that was creating, like, it sounded like it was going in and out.
You have to know how to, if you're going to use a lapel, you got to know your area. You got to know how to have everything to the best of its ability. But again, certain things are not meant for it. And again, when you have somebody who doesn't know how to use a microphone, stands very far away from it, you run into an issue. You have two options. A, you're going to turn it up and risk feedback, or B, you're going to leave it alone and hope they get the hint to talk into it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's so hard to blame people that, whether they're doing like a wedding toast or...
It doesn't matter if you tell them or not either. Because they're going to do what they're going to do.
Because they're just not used to speaking into a microphone.
We got years of practice of that. Yeah. We get paid for that.
So it's so hard. Like, I don't blame them. You try to help them, but again, you got to think they're nervous. They're nervous just to publicly speak in front of people. And now you're I get it. So it's just frustrating as the DJ. And then usually when you work at nice venues or venues where they know what's going on, it makes it a lot better. It just for me, what I always do personally is I get it. Like, you become more stressed. It also stresses me out. But then I think, like, listen, I'm going to try to deal with and do what I have to from the cards that I've been dealt here tonight, because I'm going to get stressed out. I'm going to go crazy because And especially at a wedding like this, they had so many other things they wanted to add in, where they wanted to have a projector screen and they wanted to have a video played and they had this little act they wanted to do. Now, the people that we actually did the wedding for were fantastic. Like they were
the most laid back bride and groom that I've had in a long time.
Yeah, great bride and groom.
Everything that could possibly go wrong on that day, not on our end, but on the catering facility's end, went wrong. Every possible and they were so grateful. They were chill. They just
they danced.
They went with it.
They danced. They
screwed up their introduction. They screwed up everything. And Phil and I are looking at each other going...
And it's weird because, like you said, there was, I guess you can say, 2-3 maitre d's, which is really the problem because nobody's really running it. They're wedding planners.
And then you had the half-ass banquet manager because, I don't know how they choose who the banquet manager is, but to me it looked like you're the oldest lady here, you're in charge. That's really what it looked like they did.
Or you work weekends, you might as well, or make sure you got the Saturday wedding this week, make sure it...
And make sure it doesn't flop.
Yeah, which obviously didn't work. So we get through the ceremony. We get into and it's
cocktail
weird.
because
and the weird
it's
thing
all
is,
in the same room.
Yeah, it's in the same room. So this causes another problem when you're in a place where it's not meant for weddings. Is everything's in the same spot, so you can't okay, ladies and gentlemen, now if you can go outside through the double doors, that's where the cocktail hour is going to be, and it gives you time to set up the main room.
Right. We had to be set up from the get go. And here's the other thing. So we go to cocktail, and again, they're trying to, reset everything. They're trying to do the hors d'oeuvres. Usually hors d'oeuvres are butlered and people are going around with them. These are in chafing dishes and like a buffet, which is going to cause a problem for dinner. I'm already foreseeing the future.
They even had, literally the cake and the cupcakes out
on the side
during ceremony.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second because that leads into a whole other story about dinner. So Phil and Amy go over to do to get some hors d'oeuvres or whatever.
And Amy's running the photo booth just in case you don't know.
She's running the photo booth. They go over to get some hors d'oeuvres. And one of the two wedding planners comes up to me and goes, "We're doing intros in 2 minutes." And I'm like, "You're going to have to go and tell him that." I kid you not. She looks at Phil and wags her finger and is like, "Come here, boy," kind of thing, like a dog. And I'm like, I go over to Phil. I'm like, "Since when did you become a dog?"
It was funny. Me and Amy were having a couple bites to eat. And, she was kind of far away because the DJ booth was far from where we were.
It was.
And I actually went to Amy. I actually reached over and said to Amy, I said, Is she waving her hand at me? I said, I really can't tell. Like, I wasn't even really offended.
Then you saw me walk over.
I wasn't even offended. I was just like, I think she's trying to, get in contact. So, again, and I feel like we always do a good job of trying to look at the timeline, work ahead. I'm thinking like, okay, we had cocktail hour. Nobody said anything. That's why I went over there to grab, food because I'm like, I guess we're not ready. And then as soon as you leave, it's like, oh, we're doing intro. Well, first of all, we got to line up the bridal party. We got to make sure they're all here. You can't just start calling people into the room.
Nobody understands. And you don't want to sit everybody down until you're ready to do that.
Right.
Usually when and it depends because most times the bridal party will be in a bridal suite. They'll be away from everybody. But in other cases,
of course,
like this,
they don't.
Of course, they weren't. So Phil goes to line them up. I'm standing there getting everything ready. And we're looking, and I believe the first couple to come out, the parents, Phil says the name.
Yeah,
they're standing there. Nobody told them to go. And we're like, I waved them. I don't know if you saw me, but I waved them like.
And the crazy thing, like as a disclaimer, if you ever MC a wedding, it's nerve-wracking to when you line everybody up, you're ready to go, the music's playing, you call out, whether the parents are usually first, but even if they don't have parents and they're not being welcomed in, you call the first couple. When you say their name, let's get everything going, the bridal party, blah, 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 and they're not there, and I'm like, did they hear me? Is the order wrong now? I'm looking at you like, are they there?
And that's why I started waving them. I'm like, are these banquet people going to tell them to go?
And I don't know. Like, then I'm trying to go through my head and think.
And by the way,
I said your name. Why are you not coming in?
Phil had to be in a certain position because of the microphone and the way the speakers were. He would have got really bad feedback. So he couldn't even move around like you normally could as an MC.
Right.
You were kind of stuck.
You're like glued to the floor. Like if you move, you're gonna get that crazy feedback. And I'm still confused as to why they didn't go. I don't know if they were waiting for.
I think they were waiting for a cue, which again is the banquet staff. The banquet staff is supposed to tell them to go, just like during ceremony. It's all worked out with timing, and they're supposed to. But you think it would be self-explanatory. Maybe they couldn't hear you because some of the speakers, as we noticed, didn't work.
Right. So then I'm thinking, like, I don't want to say their name again because what happens if it is out of order and now you keep calling them and it's not them?
If that ever happens, I would hope that the banquet staff would be smart enough to just have that couple go out and make it happen.
Right. Like I said your name. So
they're lined up. Oh, okay. I get you may have been third, but the paperwork says you're first. So let's go.
Kevin and Kathy. Is there Kevin and Kathy? Like if you're Kevin and Kathy, you got to go. Like
go.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So they didn't do that. So we get through, we do intros, whatever.
The good thing that I will say too, we did the intros in the first dance, and because we were doing it went on without a hitch. So that's good.
Yeah. It's kind of like Phil and I basically took over for the rest of the night as far as the timeline.
Like there wasn't enough people to help us.
No, we kind of executed it on our own. And that's a lot of times, I hate to say, when you're at a venue like that, that's what happens. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So, okay, they're in, you do the first dance, we do the speeches, the toast, all that crap. That's done. And now we get to one of the greatest parts of the night for Phil and I. And we're finally, now the father of the bride had come over. Was the father of the bride, stepfather, something like that.
He was nice.
He had already told us to make sure we got to go up to the buffet and eat. That was early in the night.
Right.
He had said that before dinner hour. And finally, the banquet manager, I put that in air quotes again, she comes up and tells us, go up there to the buffet. There's silverware up there.
We're like, all right, lady, thank you so much. You don't got to tell us twice.
You don't got to tell us twice, but we were already told by the father. So, we're good.
Yep.
So we go up there. They have no silverware. We're like, what the fuck? All right, no problem. Now we're like, well, where the fuck are we going to eat? So we go over. It's me, Phil, and Amy, and there's no chairs. So we're like, okay, well, I guess we're eating on our knees.
Now again, for reference, at normal places, they'll either put you at a table.
Even the half-ass places.
Yeah, they'll have like a back room you go to for the vendors to go eat, or they'll put you outside, or
they'll give you a chair.
Or yeah,
they give you a chair at minimum by the DJ booth.
So here we got and I will say, I will give them their props that the chicken was actually pretty good.
Chicken was about the only edible thing.
That was pretty good. So we got our food. We eventually got our silverware. And then we are walking around like looking for somewhere to go. And there's only this extra table that they never moved next to the DJ booth that has no chairs. So literally it's me, JJ, and Amy, like literally on our knees.
I took a picture. There is a picture somewhere.
Eating.
I took a picture of Phil eating on his knees. I said, we are not worthy of chairs. So we're eating,
outrageous.
Right? We're about halfway done our plates, I'll say. And keep in mind, the music is not loud at all. Actually, we can't even hear the music where we are because the people are talking over it. And this asshole banquet manager comes over and says, I need you to turn it down now. It's too loud. And we're now we're still on our knees and we look up at her.
The funny thing is that she comes over with three people on their knees eating, and that doesn't even, like, not even a glimmer in her eye.
I need you to turn it down.
Or, like, she's not like, oh, my God, you guys, do you want a chair?
No,
she's more
I
like,
need you to fucking turn it down.
Hey, peasants, I know you're eating your slop chicken, but turn that music down. It's too loud. I can't hear.
I cracked the whip. I was like, go, peasant.
I mean, terrible. I mean, just no common decency. Forget weddings, banquet managers, anything like that. Just common decency would say, like, if I saw a homeless person, I'd be like, bro, I got you a chair. Like, at least, here's a blanket.
Right.
They
were treating us like dogs. We're like, what the? My dog gets treated better than this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's true now. Waving the finger at me to eating on the floor. The only thing that would have been worse if they would have gave us no plates and just flicked the chicken tortilla on the floor and just
here, boy, here's
scoop it up.
Here's a Scooby snack.
Just eat it off the floor, you nasty pigs. I mean, what else could they have did?
And it doesn't look good on the banquet facility either because we're in front of everybody. The
right,
DJ's in the front of the fucking room.
It's not even like you're in the back. You're like front and center. It's like, oh, the DJ's here and there's the MC. There's all the nice equipment, the lights. And why is the staff on the floor?
Why are they on their knees?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Are they praying? Like,
That's what I mean. Like, are they in the pew? Is it like is it like an Asian ritual? Like, what is happening? Like,
what the fuck is this? So
and nobody said anything.
no, that was the greatest thing. No,
The bar was right across the way. The bartenders are there. Like you said, the 46 banquet manager.
wait, how about that there were high top tables against the wall by the photo booth, but it had all the banquet facility shit on it.
Yeah, all the trash.
Oh, yeah.
Like the half-eaten chicken wings or whatever else they had. Like
Yeah,
all the nasty food.
We could have at least had a high top table. That I wouldn't have complained about, to be honest with you.
Right.
If I didn't have to be on my knees, I wouldn't have. You know, again, we're dressed nice.
I mean,
We have dress pants on.
it sounds ridiculous. Like if somebody heard it, they'd be like, "You're on your knees sucking some dude off." Like what?
Listen, I mean,
what is even happening? It's insane. And then the wedding planners, they had nowhere to go either. So this is not just against us. They're over at the bar in the corner,
oh yeah.
scarfing down whatever they had.
And
So just terrible.
so we, you know, of course, we now go take advantage and get seconds because we're like, fuck this. We're going to eat on our knees. We're at least going to eat like kings. Let's go.
Yeah, we did. We had.
We had seconds.
Yeah, I needed some more of that chicken, to be honest. If I can be
that was-
100% frank with you.
That was pretty good. Frank. Frank, is that who you were sucking off down there on your knees?
No, I wasn't. I was right there. You saw me. I think I was sucking off. Was that
That chicken.
that Fusilli's? That's the only thing I was
Ooh.
sucking off.
So the moral of the story here is
Don't go to that place.
don't go to that place. We did get them up and dancing. We had a great time.
It was it was a great wedding though.
We did blow the speakers. I can honestly say that we did blow
I
them.
think that was your most fruitful part of the night for you. You're like, I blew the speakers.
I
was
blew
like,
those fucking speakers, and I was satisfied. Now it's the end of the night, right? It's the end of the night, and this is the thing that put me over the top. This, I mean, and Phil will tell you, I was pissed at a lot of the things that went on that night, but this last thing just put me over the moon, and I just. It was so rude. And now you're going to understand, if you don't already, why I called that banquet manager, again in air quotes, a bitch. She's a fucking bitch. Because, again, it was that the father or the stepfather comes up to us, and we had already gotten tipped.
yeah,
We
nice.
had already gotten tipped in the night, which is always a great feeling.
Yeah, tip your DJ, tip your bartenders.
Absolutely.
We love it.
And so
doesn't, though, yeah?
he comes over and he says, "Can you play one more song?" and hands Phil and I each a $20 bill. Now it's 9:58. I'm watching the clock, and I know the song that we're going to play will put us over at 10:03, 10:04.
Now listen. Now here's the thing. I'll be 100% frank with you. If it was 10:02 and he handed me a 20,
I still would have fucking done it.
Exactly.
So you don't piss off the hand that's feeding you.
Correct.
You already. So this is my position as the DJ, you know, because I was spinning, Phil was emceeing. My position as the DJ was he just handed us both $20 bills. We already got tipped in the night, and the banquet facility fucked up everything tonight, and we got them to have a good time. They asked for one more song. They paid us for one more song. They're getting one more song.
Yeah, they're gonna start chanting.
It's 10:01, and this bitch comes over in the middle of the song and says, "You know, I don't appreciate you guys going over. I have to work tomorrow." And Phil and I, we look at each other and we're like, "Did you just fucking say that to me?"
And the worst part is like the rest of the night, it's all about me, as in her. Like, I have to work. Yeah, lady.
So do I.
Like,
Wait, and
one
I
more
did-
4-minute song is going to ruin your entire workday
And-
tomorrow?
And wait, I didn't appreciate eating on my fucking knees. But guess what?
It happened.
It happened. So guess what's happening? I should play another fucking song.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that makes me
I
want
was almost ready to play another fucking song. The problem was
if we would have played another song,
they would have shut the sound system off.
her head would have exploded. She would have been pulling wires out.
Oh, she would have, but then when she would have damaged our equipment, we could have sued her.
Yeah.
We should have done it.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, and then even on the way out, I get it. They have their own things to do. They're busy.
But you know what?
But-
it was 4 minutes. It wasn't like they couldn't start what they were doing.
No, I mean, you can start cleaning
You
tables
can
and
start
chairs.
clearing and stuff. At 10 o'clock, you are entitled to start that.
I mean, you know how it is. if we're booked till 10, you're at least, even if you get out there quick, you're there till 10:30, 10:45.
Absolutely. It's just the nature of the thing.
Same thing for them. I mean, it's not like it ends at 10, you're gone by 10:05.
I know at Paris here, again, it's a real banquet facility and wedding facility, but if our job ends at 11, we're not getting out until 1 or 2.
Right.
Because there's vacuuming, there's doing the chairs, wiping everything down, cleaning everything, the dishwashers, the kitchen, everything.
The end time is just the last song and people just, all right, time to go.
That's getting people the fuck out of there. That's what that is. There's a whole other world behind the scenes. Again, 4 minutes is not going to kill that. Especially when it's our job to make the bride and groom happy.
She just wasn't a happy lady.
She just didn't like us because, she could tell we weren't happy with her.
Yeah, because she was terrible.
She really, from the moment Phil walked in the door.
I mean, literally, I walked in and she was like, "You don't need speakers." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know," because usually when I DJ, like I have to connect my controller and my music to a speaker system. And she's like, "Well, why would you need that?" I'm like, "All right, lady, well, again."
I don't know. Did you want me to just sing a cappella? Like, what the fuck?
And there's like, it's like, I always call it like verbal judo. There's a way of talking to somebody to get what you want. So you could say,
especially as a manager, you need to know.
Right. I mean, she could have simply said, "Listen, nice to meet you. This is my name. We're going to be working together tonight. Did you guys know?"
You don't need speakers.
Yeah. Do you guys know that we have a house system? Maybe you can plug into that, or if you want, you can set up your own thing. At least, like, okay. Because I feel like I'd be more willing to listen.
I guess I should probably, not that it's okay, but I guess I should give the backstory just to be fair, that this facility does have apartments or residents that are a decent amount away from the facility. If you are loud enough with enough bass and enough, like if you had a full band, yes, there is the potential for the houses or residents across the street to hear you. Right. A DJ is a lot more controlled. Long story short, it was brought to the DJ community because, of course, everybody's talking about the place, that they were getting noise complaints. There is a resident over there that has been habitually calling the police if they see an event going on. And the police come out, and I know DJs personally that told me before the sound system was installed, they would have a decibel meter. And as a matter of fact, it's funny as shit that I'm talking about this decibel meter and that you have to be within a certain decibel level. And they do it during sound check. They tell you, this is the loudest you can play.
The crazy thing is about this decibel meter is that they always set it at some ridiculous level.
50 decibels.
That even
realize,
just speaking is going to go over that.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm looking at the meter. We are over 50 decibels.
So let me ask you this. I don't get it. Like, why would you set something so unrealistic for live audio or live entertainment?
It's basically just to shut up the residents and the complaints. Now, does it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense.
Obviously not, yeah.
That's what makes, and I'm going to tell any bride and groom, I'm not going to play there. Listen, I'm just not. I'm not going to be forced to use a sound system that is not okay for what we need to do. It's not compatible.
And the other thing, too, I feel like if you explain this to, potential couples,
they won't go if they hear this story.
They're not going to want to go because
that's why we're not saying the name, because we will get sued for slander.
Yeah, and it's going to alter, their evening too, because if you don't have the bass and you don't have the right sound system, people are not going to have as much fun as they would if you did it the right way.
Thank God they were a laid back crowd, or we would have been screwed. If they were not as chill as they were.
And they were awesome. And the thing that sucks is if we would have had, like our speakers.
Oh, it would have been 10. I have played that room. And with my system.
It's not a bad room.
It's not a bad room. The problem is when you're dancing, you want to feel that. When you're in the club and you're dancing, you want to feel the bass. It wants to be loud. That you're celebrating, you're partying. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's not
it's not meant. That sound system was meant for background music.
Yeah, it's fine for cocktail hour, for a ceremony.
It wasn't even good for a ceremony.
No, because you had the microphone issues and all kind of stuff. It's just...
Moral of the story, don't go to this place. If you're in the South Jersey area, you can figure out where we're talking about. And
then if you can't, just tell us and we'll tell you privately.
We'll tell you privately.
Over a nice cherry Coke.
Over a nice cherry Coke. Now, Okay, that's one thing. We finally got to see each other. What else is cooking?
I mean,
What else? You're chewing on some ice. I can hear that.
Yeah,
in my
it's
ear.
real good.
That's very nice.
it was good, right?
Soothing. I like.
So
it.
I don't know. We have a couple different things. I know.
Obviously, you've been hopping around jobs. You're like a whore for jobs. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where are you working today?
You know what it is? It's just get in, get out. You know what I mean?
That's what she said, baby.
Get in 1-2 paychecks and.
It's like that song 1-2 Step. 1-2 Paycheck.
So here's the thing. So I always, for jobs, at least in my opinion, is I've never stayed at a place that I don't have a good like work-life balance that I don't enjoy to go to. So people could look at it two ways. They could say, wow, you're always job hopping and, you never stay at one place long enough. Or you could say that I just don't settle, which is how I look at it, because I want to work at a place that I enjoy to go to, that I'm making decent money, that I like the coworkers and the people that I'm with. So that's hard to find. If you talk to most people, even if they have a good job, they'll always say, oh, I hate my job. I hate the people I work with. It's not really what I want to do. I'm not having any fun.
If you're miserable, you're not going to die with the money.
So
You might as well have a good time.
that's what I mean. So, and there's been places, and I still work part-time at certain places that I've been with for years.
Right.
But the reality is there are some places like I just don't enjoy
AKA where we met.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there are some places where I get there, and I'll be honest with you, after like a day or a couple hours, I'm like, this is not for me. So,
And you should know after you've worked at least a shift. You usually will know if this is good or not. And I know me. We've talked about this so many times. I try to stick it out as long as I can.
yeah, I'm the same way, but like, we're kind of the same in that way where if
We
you
want what we want.
yeah, you want what you, and I think most people are that way. It's just some people are
Settle.
They're just more willing to settle and stay there. And
I did, but I every
It's
time I
hard.
did that, I became more miserable.
Yeah,
and
you do.
I lost more things, like and I can't blame us all. We've been busy. We've been so busy with different things that's why the show hasn't been happening.
right, we have so much work.
We're
and,
trying to get ourselves to that place where there's the work and the life balance, and we're able to
Right.
have fun, and it doesn't become, oh well, I got to go to work, I got to go to this job, then I got to do the show, then I got to go to this job.
And the thing is, the reality is you spend at least probably, I would say, anywhere from 70 to 80% of your week at work, right? So
Right.
whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even if we just take a regular 9 to 5, you're spending 80% of your day at that place. So to me, I'm not going to invest all that time into a place that the pay is not where I need it to be, and I don't like the coworkers, and I just don't like the work, because that means if you're miserable at that place, that means 80% of your life is now miserable, because that's where you're spending the majority of your time. Now, I can deal with that if you're only at work 10% of the time.
Right.
But it's too much time to be at a place that you really don't like to be. And then I do notice certain things, like you get more like worn out, stressed, depressed, you're not happy. So to me, all that stuff, I'm like, you know what? I can always find something else. And that's what I do. And then I just look for other things that I like. And it takes a while to sift through, whether it's like relationships or it's kind of the same thing. You date people to find somebody who you're compatible with.
Exactly.
And some people find that person in high school. Other people don't find that person until they're 35. So it's the same thing with jobs. Like
Exactly.
you can find a great job at 18 and be there for 40 years. And then sometimes you got to go through a lot until you're like, I like this place. I like the opportunity. I can grow.
It's like our industry, though. In certain industries, you got to work your way up. You got to make your name. You got to be able
Right.
to. And that's what our industry is. Our industry is totally, you got to just keep going until you make it. If you're good, you're going to make it one day. You're going to make it somewhere. I mean, look at you. You've already, the shit you've done. You've been there, for radio. You've been there. You've done
right.
it. You've learned what the industry's really like. And, look what we're doing. That's why this started, talking about how the industry really is.
Right. A lot of people don't know, even like in radio. I mean, I still love radio. But the reality is, and we talked about this before, you can't keep barking up the tree that there's nothing left on it.
Right. The leaves
Right.
are all gone. And
You have to adjust to.
it's not what it used to be. People still listen to radio, but especially in our area, Philly, New Jersey, Delaware, it's all, except for a few stations. There's one station that is all 24-hour jocks.
Right.
And once those jocks have passed away and, you know, it's a whole new regime in there, that station is going to go syndicated. And everything's going to be pre-recorded. And why? Because why are we going to pay Phil $100,000 to talk when I can pay this guy who's, you know, 25, I can pay him to do 5 stations from home.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's not what it used to be, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It sucks in its way, but in its own way. But at the same time, you can do a podcast like this,
which is kick ass.
Yeah,
and you can say fuck.
Yeah, you can. You can curse through. You don't have to follow any FCC guidelines. And again, I always look at it like today. We're literally in Paris Caterers with a laptop, an iPad, 2 microphones, and a pretty sweet Rodecaster. And we're able to record this show today, edit it, and then later tonight, essentially have it broadcast to the entire world for free.
And if we really wanted to be honest with you, this could be live.
Right, you could be doing it live.
I could be streaming this live where people are tuning in, and eventually, you know, we may get to that point. But right now, we're having fun doing it this way, and
right,
the surprise factor. And
I mean, you know, radio before was really it was one way to connect. But I think honestly, if you're looking at it, you probably can connect more doing it this way.
Yep.
Than you could
if you
before.
Look now,
because
you know a lot of these radio shows are doing live feeds on YouTube.
Right, because people watch it.
They're watching it and they're interacting with the video. Years ago, that's not how that worked.
No, because obviously you couldn't do that with video and iPhones and laptops. And
you got this, you know, this thing called Cameo. And, you know, before, meeting your favorite radio personality was a cool thing. You know, you'd go to the mall and they're doing a remote and you get to go meet your favorite radio personality. Now, fucking look on YouTube.
And what
they are.
And what I want to start doing is that we need definitely you know, advice from people, because I think the cool thing about a podcast or a show like this is that we can ask for advice or ask what people want to hear or listen to. So if there's anybody that wants to come onto the show, we can. I want to start like next time actually bringing people in and just
this COVID shit's over to us. So
I mean, COVID. I mean, please with the COVID, it's over.
It's over.
I mean, what are we going to do? Everybody's got the bat serum shot. You know, we all had the Wu flu.
Yeah,
it's
even you.
Yeah, I've had it.
We've both had it. As much as we fought and didn't want it, we realized
we were forced. I was forced.
It was not what we wanted, because you know when you go into a job interview now, and it's conveniently the last thing. Do you have any questions for me? You ask your questions, whatever. You shake hands. Oh, by the way,
did you have the China cough?
You have to be vaccinated to work here.
We're like, oh, but I already had the China cough, or I had the Wu flu, and they're like, okay,
okay, but you need to show proof of vaccination.
You got to take the bat serum shot. And you're like, oh, okay,
okay, no problem. That's what you want, and if that's really what you want, I mean, I guess we can do it.
You got to get the experimental drug.
The experimental drug that 20 years from now is going to make my balls like fucking
balloons. God bless Hillary.
What the fuck is going on? Yo. Yeah, listen.
God bless her.
Listen, child of God here. Child of God. Both of us are children of God, and before he says something that he really shouldn't,
let's get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right, that's it for Anything Goes. This was episode, JJ, 27.
27. We got another one coming your way soon. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website, anythinggoespj.com.
All right, for Phil Rossi and JJ Golick, see ya.
This is Anything Goes with Phil Rossi and JJ Golick.